Baldur's
talk
Gate's
about
cool.
Baldur's Gate because you
Yes,
do know
I
about
like
that, and it won't upset me anymore. So for those who don't know, Baldur's Gate, I didn't know anything about Baldur's Gate 1, 2, or 3, or that there was this thing made by Lorien Studios or whatever, and that they had this cool CEO who didn't think of profit margins as his primary factor. There's no DLC in this game. There's no microtransactions in this game. They made a point of saying, we made a full game and sold it for full price or whatever. It's been in early access for a number of years, apparently. And it's 97 on Metacritic. It's closing in on the most played game of all time with concurrent players on Steam. That's the stat I'm talking about. 815,000, I think it capped out at, which is crazy. PUBG was around 1 million, if I remember, but it's been years. It is different from anything I've ever played before. They say it's a CRPG, but then I Googled that and it said that's a computer role-playing game, and I was like, okay, they all are, so that doesn't really work. And then I was like, is it an action role-playing game? I'm not sure how to describe it other than saying it's a very, very in-depth RPG. If you're the kind of guy who skips cutscenes, don't bother. And it really matters what your character is. If you decide to be an elf who's smart, you will have a completely different playthrough than if you just pick, I don't know, a human who's strong and kind of go through that. Things will happen differently for you. But the combat is where this thing is completely different from anything I've ever done. The closest I've come to the combat in this turn-based manner is Pokemon, games like that where you've got multiple entities or Magic the Gathering, because I've never played D&D. I don't know anything about it, but that's the other thing. Anyone who plays D&D, you're one of those hyper nerds who hangs out with your buddies around a table. My God, they made a game for you. They took, and I don't know why it's not just called Dungeons and Dragons. If they were just going to do that, they copied the rule set and everything and made it work in a game perfectly. I'm having so much fun. There were some growing pains where at first I'd play for an hour and be like, I think I'm done with this for now. But every time I go back to it, I play for longer, because I get more invested and I get better at it.
And got fucked up by those goblins a couple times in a row, trying to be a little too clever at that approach. But that's the thing, that Kyle's explaining is you can go into the fight like we did, and we tried to there's a little kind of hideout here with some goblins, and I'm sure there's loot and stuff there, and we kind of want to get past them. And so we go there and we try the initial thing, which is what you always do in these games, which is combat. Let's try and knock them out and move through. But unlike Diablo or Vermintide,
or
every enemy, every single enemy out levels you. And so by numbers and by strength, if you see a level 4 guy who's got 50 HP, it's oh, that's a real problem right now, because we're all truly weak. You level so slowly. And so we got blown out twice trying this fight before we realized, all right, we have to, who among us is the most suave, who's got the best verbal ability, whatever that's called, their charisma, I think it is. And Kyle has a higher charisma character, and so we're all right, nobody else talk to this guy. Kyle's gonna go up and initiate conversation, because we're more likely to get a better outcome, because Scum's character has no charisma, and so if he goes and talks to him, dice roll is going to happen, and it's going to be uh-oh, Scum, you need to roll a 17 to not get stabbed in the eye right now. Whereas Kyle would be okay, he has bonuses. He really just needs a 10. We need to hope.
And you roll die on the screen. There's a D20 die, and maybe it's a very hard confrontation to be you need to roll there are some where it says roll a 20 or die, basically, or fail, I should say. Roll a 20 and you'll convince this guy that you are actually a ghost and not an enemy, and he'll walk away. And it's 20-sided die. I think it's 1 or 20, huh? Yep, that's exactly. Fuck. And I don't even think you can roll a 19 and then add a modifier. You have to roll a solid 20. So you could save Scum, I guess, through that. But I try not to do that. That's when you save the game, then roll the die. Oh, I didn't go my way. Load back and try again. I try not to do
not really in the spirit of it.
But you could play as that dinosaur man or whatever he's called. And when he's in that encounter that you were just describing, where we meet the troll and I sweet talked him, because he was I saw a playthrough with the dinosaur man who's using
the Dragonborn, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And the goblin's get down and kiss my foot. and your buddy's like, leave or kill him, but do not grovel to that guy. And you're like, in your dialogue options, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and it's like, that foot looks tasty. That toe so succulent. You lean in close, and they cut to third person. You like get on your knees. You have a tail, so it's sticking out all like it looks bad. The goblins are like, oh, he's gonna kiss the boss's foot, and your buddies are all like, what the fuck, boss? Don't kiss his dirty foot. He's a goblin. And you bite his fucking toe off. You bite his toe off with your opportunity. And you can only do that in that one scenario if your character's spec'd just right, and he's that fucking dragonborn man or whatever. You know, it's that stuff has been fun to me. My character is a rock gnome. She's a tiny 3 foot tall girl, and I have spec'd her so that she is very intimidating.
Very intimidating.
Yes.
Okay.
Anytime I'll be facing off against trolls and goblins, and they'll talk shit, and it'll be like intimidation. Better back up unless you want some of this. And she'll do that, and they'll be like, sorry, boss, we didn't want none of you. We didn't know. We made a mistake. Here's a bit of gold for your trouble, boss. They're like,
are you level 2 or 3 yet?
Like 3 or 4 or something like that. Yeah. 12 is about where it caps out. We were saying earlier, because I think Dungeons and Dragons at 12, you're a very powerful character.
There's a lot of like dirty, funny scenes. Like I haven't played as much as Kyle, but like we were going through this same village, and we wanted to explore a barn, and so like we opened the barn doors to look in, and there's a giantess or ogre woman on all fours being fucked from behind by a werewolf man who's like a more normal size guy, and like immediately it goes to a cutscene where like Grug and Grugette or whatever are like, what are you doing in my barn? And then like
he's embarrassed. He's covering his weredick.
Yeah, and then there's like what you can do or leave, and we are all like select to run away because it's very obvious that like we will get one shot by this giant troll bitch. And so then like I happened to be the furthest away, and so I ran as far away as I could. Scum couldn't make it. Scum gets decapitated by the wereman. Kyle takes a couple steps away, but to no avail, because that big bitch is quick. She clears a lot of ground quickly. And now within like one half a turn,
between her titties.
I'm far away that I can't revive anyone or whatever. Kyle's dead. Scum's dead. Urban's almost dead. And then it's like, oh, so you can. So like it's not like other games where you could actually just turn and run, and like they'll forget about you and like turn and wander back to their little save area.
In combat.
Yeah, they will not forget that you just caught them fucking. Now they're mad, and they want to kill you.
It goes to turn-based mode too, and each turn you can only move say 30 steps. So if you try to run away, you'll move your 30 steps, and they'll be like, "Fuck you! I can move 50 steps and punch you," and they'll just beat you to death. You can't get away without using some special ability or power to break contact and get away. But talking your way out is more often than not the way to go.
Yeah.
A lot of it's very sexual. All of your companions are way into you. The one chick is like, I'm going to speak plainly. I want to taste you. Might not be tonight. Might not be anytime soon. I'm coming.
Careful, this game's trying to bite your foot.
And there's pussies and dicks right off the bat.
It's a really horny game.
And in the character creation, I hide my clothes, and there's like pussy and titties, and then I check. You can't. I think this is the woke part that people were complaining about way back when. I think you pick like female or male voice. There's no gender is completely out of it. It's just about genitals and voices. So who cares? So you can just throw a dick on your character, and then you get to decide dick A, B, C, or D. You get to pick all the different. There's only a handful of dicks, though. The first mod that I even heard of is called Better Dicks.
Better Dicks.
It's called Better Dicks. They're already making mods.
Now they're in 4K. You see the veins.
Bigger, stronger, faster. I don't know. It looked like an average size dick to me. But you could go cut, uncut.
Becomes a ranged weapon.
Pubic hair. There's several different vulvas. I went vulva A.
The vulvas seem. I didn't spend much time on them, but it seems to be a pube thing.
It was a pube thing.
I didn't spend any time on the dicks either. The dicks also seem to be a pube thing.
Cut or uncut as well.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, okay. You scroll to the end for the uncut guy.
All right.
Or
I didn't spend. to be progressive.
Uncut.
Yeah. That's a silly thing to complain about. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I really don't care. I mean, it's a game where you can and will probably have sex with a man who has transformed himself into a bear at one point. Like,
if that's the right move for your character at the time.
When is it not?
Maybe the bear has some sort of gemerald that you could kill it and then take for yourself. You never know. Fair. This is that kind of game.
I saw everybody simping super hard for the Shadowheart character online. I guess that's the hottest female character, that you see. Everybody's real into her. I keep seeing most of the clips I've seen have had her like in. I guess it's a mod because she's in like lingerie, just like a Final Fantasy character or something. Just really ridiculous. Yeah, it's a wonderful game. I bet it wins Game of the Year. The sales are ridiculous. It's making other developers look bad. I love there's no microtransactions. I think you can buy a premium version and get a cape, but that's that's it. There's no horse armor.
That's great. When's the last time a game did that? Like a big game?
I think the other contenders for Game of the Year would be. Wasn't there a Zelda game? I don't play that Nintendo shit, so I don't know. But I think like Tears of the Forest or whatever Zelda game just came out. It's supposedly so. I think it's a 96 on Metacritic. It's Tears of the Kingdom. I was close as fuck. I don't even know what those games are about. I really don't.
I've never really played the Zelda games.
You never played a Zelda at all? I played it as like when I was in school.
No, I think I had the wrong console when it or whatever. I don't know. I never got into it or knew what it was at all, and I still don't. Just never really owned a good Nintendo system. Really, my sister had a 64, but she didn't have any good fucking games. She had Paper Mario.
Paper Mario was another turn-based game.
It was. I loved Paper Mario.
It was fun. Yeah, I liked Paper Mario too. That was not one of my biggest games on N64. I remember loving Donkey Kong 64, which was hard because you had to find so many goddamn bananas all around that giant map. Then Super Mario 64, which was the exact same thing as Donkey Kong 64, except you're collecting stars on a different map than the golden bananas. I see that now. I see that clearly now. Those are the same game. And then WWE 1996 or 1997, where there was a special character where like they all had special like finishing moves. And one of the guy's special finishing moves is like the other wrestler would be on the ground, like on his back. And this guy would take their legs and spread them and like headbutt their genitals and like it'd make a ding noise. Yeah. Did you ever play that one?
No. Again, my sister.
It's because of that game that I concussed my younger brother because I was trying to do a different special move where you kind of slammed someone, but we were on concrete and we didn't think it through.
Oh, yeah, that's no good. No, I didn't have any cool games for the most part because they almost would never buy me games as gifts. I feel like they thought it was like I was going to be in my room playing the game, and they didn't want to encourage that. I can't remember if I played anything but before Grand Theft Auto that was any fun. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. When I got that for Christmas, I was like, "Do you know what you just bought me? Do you know what this is?" It was like they bought me crack cocaine and sent me to my room.
Shit, I think it was called WWF Warzone in 1998. Yeah. Damn, what a stupid game. I never even watched wrestling my entire childhood. I never watched professional wrestling once, but I had that game on my N64 and thought it was fun and cool.